What's up, traders? Zach here from the Trading Network. Hope you guys are doing well and that everybody had a good session today. It is Wednesday, March 3rd, and I've got another daily market profile recap for you today, again, for ES futures and NQ as well. So let's start off with the key levels for ES. Switch over here. And the prior range high at 39.0350 was the first level that I was looking at. So we're actually just going to switch over to the profile here. I'm going to pull up the trade plan. All right, so now that we are over on the profile, let's go through these key levels here. So first and foremost, I was looking at yesterday's range high. Second level was the overnight high at 38.98. Third level was 38.91, which was the overnight POC right in this area right here. Fourth level was the prior point of control at 38.84, 38.8450 to be precise. And the last level was the prior range low at 38.65 that I was interested in. Now, as we'll scroll down and see, we did not get much price action or business done in yesterday's range at all. And we got a very, very quick flush downwards after rejection from yesterday's range. So there was very little news events or headline risk affecting the market today. Just some good old bearish price action that was very clear immediately upon open. So as you can see here, starting with the analysis from the pre-market, overnight inventory was majority long. You can see settlement prices right here, and the majority of the overnight price action is indeed above settlement. As we know, that means overnight inventory is long, and that increases the probability of a push to the downside. Now, we are looking to open below Tuesday's range and value. You can see this was Tuesday's range. This is Tuesday's value area here, this bright area, 38.96 to about 38.76, so 20-point value area from yesterday. And when we look to open outside of range and value, this means that there is a higher probability of trending price action. So with that said, today I was looking at the prior range low at 38.6550 as the line in the sand level. My thought was if price could move and hold above yesterday's low, right here, I'll draw a box around yesterday's low real quick so it's a little bit easier to see. All right, so once again, I was looking at the prior range low, 38.65. You can see the box around that level right here. If we could hold above that level, my thought was that we were going to be moving into this prior point of control, which is indeed a naked point of control, which means this is a point of control that was formed, and since it was formed, it has not been tested or touched in a regular trading hour session. So that still is an important level lingering above us as well, just to keep in mind. Now, if we could not move and hold above yesterday's low, which is what happened, that is going to be a significantly weak sign that larger players are not viewing yesterday's range as fair value any longer. Very important. I was going to look for a move down to the February 26 point of control at 38.29, and we'll watch reaction to that level. So that 38.29 level was a major area of interest for me, and we got very close to it even in the first opening hour of the session, which we will talk about in just a few minutes here. So moving down into the scenarios, just to reiterate here, this 38.6550 level was the line in the sand. If we could hold above that, I was looking for a move into previous profile levels above that level, more specifically yesterday's POC, yesterday's value area high and low, and yesterday's range high as well. We did not get anywhere near any of those levels except for range low, and still got about 6 points below that. So not a true test of that level by any means, and we never got into value from yesterday, which is very, very important. Now, if we could not hold that level, then I was looking for shorts down to that 38.29 level, which we did indeed hit in the regular trading hour session today. All right, so if we move down into the summary here, we will go over the specific targets. So you can see we got no upside targets hit. Our first upside target above the overnight, or I'm sorry, above the prior range low was the 38.77 level. And it was actually a typo. This should be 38.77 here and not 37.77. But nonetheless, we did not get that hit. We did not get even inside value, as I mentioned just a minute ago. So no upside targets hit. So let's move through the downside targets, starting with that 38.5775 level. 38.5775 was this overnight high from the February 28th into March 1st overnight session right here, the Globex session high from that day, if you will. All right, so second downside target was that 38.40.75 level. You guys can see that there's 6 targets, both to the upside and to the downside. And the second target, more specifically, was a lot further away than my normal targets are. So we had essentially, a 17, almost 20-point gap between my first downside target and my second downside target. And that was because if we broke below those lows and held below the lows from yesterday, extremely bearish. I'm looking for a severe downside continuation when something like that happens, and that is exactly what we got. So that's why I had such drastic targets. So as you can see here, I'll flip back over to main chart just so you can get an idea. I changed my ticks per level setting, so it's a little bit different on that other profile. You can see right here, 38.40.75. That was the point of control from this massive 111-point range from February 25th regular trading hour session, and that was why I chose that level. So let's get back to the profile and the trade plan here. Going to our third downside target, 38.38.50. That was the overnight point of control from that February 28th into March 1st Globex session. You can see that right here. And that was also hit in the opening 1 hour of today's session. Third downside target was that 38.29 level that I was very interested in. And going back once more to this profile here with the slightly different ticks per level setting, you can see this 29 level was the point of control from the February 26th session. So I always like to use point of controls, or almost always have at least one point of control as a target from a previous session in my trade plan, and they work very, very well as targets because price is indeed sucked into those levels. So fourth downside target, 38.21.25. You can see this right here. This was the overnight low from that same session. That was the February 28th into March 1st Globex session. So this right here, second to last downside target. We didn't get that hit until much later in the day when we started to make new lows towards the close. And as well as our very last target, that 38.16 level right here, that was hit right before the close of the day as well. And that was the value area low from the February 26th regular trading hour session. So we had 6 out of 6 downside targets wiped out today. We had an open drive or an open test drive, depending on how specific you want to be and what your TPO settings are set to. So you can see here, this would be an open test drive, right? Because we opened up here, we moved up, we tested 38.70, we rejected, and then we proceeded to flush down. So if I go back here to the open, you can see that play out, and we can see how that actually played out on the regular chart. So you can see this is the New York opening range right here. We have that highlighted. So we have the open here. We have the open, we have the test to the upside, and we have the immediate drive down. You can see this was the high of day. We made the high of day right on the open, and we struggled to get back above opening range for the entire rest of the day. So something that I want to show you guys, this is a tool that is a part of the Trading Network proprietary indicator package. And using the opening range can give you tremendous edge on a day like today. And you can even see it yesterday. If we go back, price struggled and could never get above opening range. Here's yesterday. Here's New York opening range. This is the opening 1 minute range. We opened, tested, drove, continued to struggle, could never break back into opening range again. And that set the tone for not only yesterday, but it also set the tone for today as well. And you can see very similar with London open. Here's London opening range. Same thing. Open, tested to the upside, drove downward almost immediately. Here's today's. Just to reiterate, we open, test to the upside, immediate drive down, price fails to make new highs, price fails to move and hold above that New York opening range. So just like profile levels, we can use something like the opening 1 minute range. We call it the opening range tune in the TTN indicator package. And this is tremendous edge from a very, very simple tool. So just wanted to show you guys that as well. All right, so just to recap, we had 6 out of 6 downside targets hit. We had 0 out of 6 upside targets hit. and I'll just go through those downside targets that were taken out today real quick one more time. First and foremost, 38.5775, the February 28th into March 1st overnight high. Second downside target was the 38.4075 level. That was the POC from February 25th. Third downside target, the overnight POC from that same overnight session, February 28th into March 1st. The next downside target was 38.29. That was the point of control from the February 26th session. And the fifth downside target was 38.2125. You can see this same session, a lot of activity, a lot of levels hit from this session here. That was the low from that same overnight session. And last but not least, we had the value area low from that February 26th session as our final downside target that was hit. So let us move on over to the NQ. Switch the profile over, switch the trade plan, and let's get going. So the trade plan for NQ is as follows. Key levels, starting with the prior range high, was 13,328. Second level was the overnight high at 13,192. Third level was the overnight point of control at 13,140. Fourth level was the prior range low at 13,048. And last but not least, we were looking at that February 26 point of control on NQ as well at 12,974. So let us get into the NQ profile specifically and into the analysis. So in similar fashion, the overnight inventory for NQ was majority long, which means that the settlement price was under a large majority of the price action from the overnight. So you can see settlement right here, 13,055. We got that marked off, and a majority of the overnight session is taking place above that settlement price. Same thing with ES. When we are long, when the overnight inventory is long, there's a higher probability that New York fades that to the downside, especially if we don't get bought up quickly and show buying pressure, strong buying pressure with conviction on open. So furthermore, you can see at the time of writing, price was pushing, making new lows for the overnight session, which was showing me that we were now likely to open below range and value from yesterday's session. So when I was writing this, we were pushing 13,048. I think we were around this area. So we were making new lows. And again, just like ES, when that happens and when we can't push back into the previous session's range or value area, not good for the bulls. Very strong bearish structure right there. So you can see in my trade plan, I also said when we open below range and out of value, there is more directional conviction and a higher probability of a trending day. That is exactly what we got. Based on that, I was looking at the prior range low at 13,048 as the line in the sand. You can see this right here. And today's high was 13,052. So right there, we barely got above it at all today. Could not push above it even by 10 points. So if we could move and hold above that, I was looking just like ES for a move into these levels from yesterday's profile. And on the flip side, if not, I was looking for a rather drastic move back down into these levels from these previous sessions that we haven't visited in quite a few days, and ultimately lower. So more specifically, you can see that I was looking to take long opportunity towards the prior value low at 13,110 right here, if we could move and hold above this. And if we couldn't, I was looking for a move down to the lows from Friday's session, closer to that 12,750 level, which is exactly what we got. We got to move to 12,668, which was beautiful. So scrolling down a bit, just to reiterate, line in the sand, 13,048. Let's highlight that. That was yesterday's range low. Now, if we could hold above that, I was looking for a move to yesterday's value area low. You guys can see how these trade plans are essentially almost identical if the price action is identical in the overnight in regards to NQ and ES, which a lot of the time it is because they are highly correlated assets. So if we could not hold above this 1348 level, then I was looking for a move down towards Friday's value area low at 12,904. And then ultimately that 12,750 level. So let's get into the targets. We will not waste any time here. Short and sweet, pretty clear on what happened in regards to price action today. You know, we got the open test drive. We got a very fierce move to the downside, rejection from the lows of yesterday. And again, as I've been preaching, not just today, but for the last several trade plan videos, we've had similar structure to this, where we've struggled to either get above the previous range lows or the overnight lows, things like that. And that, tells us a story about the market and about how the bigger players are viewing price action. All right, so downside targets. First and foremost, we were looking at, after we could not, once again, hold above that line in the sand, we were looking at this 12,971 level. Again, I changed my ticks per level setting a little bit, so it's a few points off here, 3 to be exact. And that first downside target was hit very swiftly upon open, in addition to that second downside target at 12,953. You can see that right here. And that was the point of control from that February 25th session. The third downside target for NQ was 12,904. That was the value area low from the February 26th session right here, which we just briefly discussed. And the next level was actually 100 points lower than that. That was 12,806, and that was the overnight point of control right here from the February 25th into February 26th Globex session. And again, just like ES, when we break major levels, I expect major reaction. So that is exactly what we got, and that is exactly why I was comfortable having a 100-point gap between two targets. So with that said, I had a 50-point gap between the next two targets, and that last target was hit indeed towards the end of the session. That was 12,752, and that was the regular trading hours low from the February 26th session as well. So you guys noticed that I used the levels from the February 26th session quite a bit, both on NQ and on ES, because those were very high probability areas for price to go if we could not continue or hold upside momentum, which we absolutely could not today. All right, so just to recap for ES and NQ, we had no upside targets hit. However, we had extremely strong downside conviction, and we had all of our downside targets hit. So we had 11 out of 11 downside targets hit today, which is pretty incredible. If you can just allow the trend to be your friend, take op zone shorts, use the auction theory and the market profile information to your advantage, and most importantly, not think about it too hard. Most people get destroyed when they're overthinking their setups, when they are thinking themselves out of good trades and into poor setups because, they're focused on the outcome instead of the process. So with all that said, I want to thank you guys very much for taking the time to watch these videos. If you do enjoy what you're seeing, please hit that like button down below and subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can stay notified for all of our upcoming videos. Also, make sure that you check out the links in the description below, where you will first and foremost find a link to our free Facebook group where I release these trade plans on a daily basis every day, Monday through Friday at New York Open. And you will also find information on our website, thetradingnetwork.io, where you can get access to one-on-one mentorship with me. I offer 4-week programs, 10-week programs, and a few other varying lengths. These are one-on-one programs where we work directly together every day for an hour on Zoom, and we go over your trades, we make specific trading plans, and whether you are a swing trader, a scalper, an options trader, I work with any type of trader, and especially in regards to trading psychology. That is one thing that I focus on heavily, and I think that it is the most important aspect of becoming a consistently profitable trader. So if you're looking for a mentor, if you're interested in chatting with me, discussing trading psychology, learning more about your own psychology with someone who's been through it all when it comes down to it, give me a shout. You know where to find me. With that said, you can also get information on the private Discord access, where you can watch me trade live every day, Monday through Friday at New York Open as well. You can get access to the Trading Network Proprietary Indicator Package, which you've seen in this video. And last but not least, you can purchase access to the Fundamentals of Futures Trading course and the FFT course bundles, which include lifetime Discord access and the Trading Network Proprietary Indicator Package as well. We offer bundles, payment plans, and all sorts of different options to make it a little bit easier on your wallet for people in varying situations. So with that said, thank you guys so much again. I immensely appreciate you all for taking the time, and I will see you in the next video.